back, everybody. Today we're going over this beauty right here, this Czech beauty. This is the CZ Bren 805 Carbine. So they did initially release this in the pistol form here in the United States. The Carbine has comes in both black and FDE versions. Obviously we have the FDE Cerakote version here. You guys have been seeing it throughout the intro. And quick history on the rifle is this rifle was adopted by the Czech military in, I believe, 2006. Replaced the VZ58 rifle. Now the VZ58 rifle is a rifle that has a great reputation, excellent trigger, by the way, at least on the original ones. And shoots a 7.62 by 3.9 cartridge, and looks similar to an AK, but is not similar to an AK at all in terms of function. Anyway, I digress. But we went over to the 5.56 NATO cartridge, and this sucker shoots it pretty well, which you're about to see. But it's got a little bit of military use, so I guess 2006, so 10 years at this point, so it has proven itself. However, as this is starting to be imported, I should say, into the United States, the Czech military is actually adopting the 806, which is a little bit lighter and has a little bit of ergonomic improvements, I guess you'd say. But this rifle certainly is an excellent rifle. So what we're going to do next is go out to the range, shoot some groups for it, and see how well this rifle can actually shoot in terms of accuracy. Then we'll come back in, take a look at some of the details of it, and then at the end, I suppose we'll let you know what we think of it overall. But we got a little preview here in the beginning. Anyway, we'll let the dogs take a look at it and then get back out to the range. One thing a lot of viewers out there have been asking me about is the accuracy. So for this one, we're actually going to shoot 5-shot groups, which generally I don't like doing due to time constraints, but we're going to do it because you guys have demanded it. So we got a few different types of ammo. We have our standard 55 grain Freedom Munitions ball stuff in there right now, just to see what kind of accuracy you can expect with practice type ammo. And we have a couple match loads here. We have the Guerrilla Munitions, or Guerrilla Ammunitions rather, 55 grain Sierra Blitz King round. Generally a very, very accurate round, as well as the Federal Premium 69 grain Sierra Match King. So both rounds that are have exceptional reputations for accuracy. Targets downrange at 100 yards, so just let you know the setup we're rolling here. Gemtech suppressor on there. It's the GMT LE556, I believe. They have a new model for this year, but it's the exact same can. We also have the primary arms, ACSS 4x14 scope here, with the HUD reticle in there, sitting in an Aero Precision mount, and that's it. So, not talking, more shooting. Just to let you know, downrange, that target you guys see in the corner of your screen somewhere, those are 2-inch squares, so I'll give you an approximation before I go down and measure it. Well, I'm sure you guys can see it better than I can, or actually probably about the same, but that's a pretty impressive group from here for just some revamp ammo. This one here is going to be the Guerrilla Munitions. One thing I should point out while we're actually, while I was doing that, is that this rifle does not have a bolt release. That's why I had to run the charging handle when doing that, even if you get locked back, which we will after this. Oh, it looks like that load as well. So one thing I should point out while we're doing this that's very different than even like an AR-15 or really any other military gun that we review out there, like the Beretta ARX, Tavor, etc. This gun has a pretty decent trigger for a military gun, and you really notice it when you're trying to shoot for groups, obviously. So it's sort of got almost like a two-stage trigger where you can definitely stage it, and then a decent little break there at the end. It's nothing like a match grade trigger at all, but I think it breaks right around like 4.5 pounds on my gauge. We'll probably check it later in the video. But again, compared to a lot of the guns we test out here, that trigger is much better. Much better. So up next, the 69 grain Federal. Interesting. We had a pretty big impact shift there. Well, we'll go down range and check it out. Like we just talked about, like you guys just saw, pretty good groups all around. Basically, for the first two, just to talk about that point of impact shift I mentioned, first two groups I was aiming at corners. Well, all groups I was aiming at corners. So I was aiming at this corner right here, try to pick a small target, aim small, miss small type of thing. Next one I was aiming at this corner. So again, right on, tracking. And with the Federal load, I was aiming right here at the bottom corner here. Top corner of the bottom block, rather, I should say. So that was a pretty big point of impact shift with that round, which was kind of interesting. Anyway, you can see here with the Freedom Munitions group, we're getting right at 1.25 inches. So really good results there. Again, that's not match ammo. With the Gorilla load, right at 1 inch on the dot. Yeah. Scratch that. That one's a little farther away, so we're at about 1.25 inches again. And then with the Federal, the biggest group for sure, but still looking at just a touch over 1.5 inches, so 1.6-ish, we'll say. But all in all, again, for a non-match rifle, very, very impressed with those results. It certainly shoots well. I suppose we'll start out at the back of the rifle and work our way forward. This one here comes with the right-handed shooter's cheek piece on there. So you can see it's sort of angled for, again, the right-handed shooter to have a nice cheek weld there. This piece right here, this little add-on though, is removable. So if you're either left-handed and shooting right-handed, or if you just want sort of a lower cheek weld to use irons, or maybe even a low mount optic up front, you can do that. But I've been shooting it as it is that you see here, and I've had zero issues with it. I like it. It's really comfortable, so no problems at all. Adjusting the cheek piece here is very simple. When you want a little bit more length, you just push up here on the back of this little tab, or you can also just pull down on the front. Either way, whichever way you want to do it is fine. So you're just going to pull down and pull out, so you have a 4-position adjustable stock here. You can see you can stop it at any of those. It'll lock in. It's not as solid as some of like the real tight AR stocks out there, so just a function of the design. I haven't had any problems with it though. Like we've talked about, we do have a little bit of a rubber butt pad here on the back. It's pretty stiff stuff though, so it's not going to give you a lot of recoil absorption. However, it is going to give you a nice surface. Like when you shoulder it, it's not going to move around, and it sticks pretty well there and works out well. So it does fold to the right. This little button right here is how we're going to engage it. So you're just going to push in, and you'll hear it click or fold over. Now, of note, when it's folded, it's not actually locked in position, but there is sort of like a spring tension that you have to overcome. As you can see, if you don't, it goes right back in. But to do so, to extend it out, I should say, you just pull out. And if you do it fast, it'll snap right in. But for camera purposes here, we'll just do it slow. You can get it to that position and snap it right in. One thing you're likely to notice throughout this review is that the machining on this rifle is simply phenomenal. Everything in terms of fit and finish is as nice as any rifle I've ever seen, let alone a military adopted rifle. So very, very impressive stuff there, and the sights are no exception. So they're sort of designed along a similar theme to like the Troy battle sights, where you have this little push button here, and that allows you to either open and or close it. Again, very, very tight fit, very smooth. Locks in solidly. You have a dual aperture, so you have a little bit of a narrow one for longer distance shooting, and then a wider one. You can see them both there for sort of close up and personal stuff. Either one works fine, maintain 0. And then when you want to put it down, you're just going to push that button back in and set the sights down flat. Now on the back here, we have sling attachment points on both sides, which is certainly nice. It's not QD, so it's old school sling style. Just something to keep in mind there, but it worked for 40 years. It still works now just fine. Moving forward, we have our rear takedown pin. This is one of the few aftermarket additions you see on this rifle. This is the KNS one. It's just a little push button design. So that way you don't have to worry about the capture pins on the original one, but the original ones work fine, no issues there. But if you're looking for a little bit of an upgrade, those are nice, they worked out well. Moving forward, we have our safety. It is a short throw safety, which is really nice, very ergonomic. It's ambi safety, so it's the same on both sides of the rifle. And what's nice about it is it gives you a nice large surface there, so that way you can just rest your thumb on it, like if you're out on patrol or something like that. And when you need to get rifle into action, very quick, very short throw. I like it a lot. No complaints there out of me. On the pistol here, it to me is ergonomic, but like I've mentioned a million times on the channel, I have very large hands. To me, it's a little bit small, but certainly feels good, much better than like an A2, for instance. But this back piece here is replaceable. As of right now, I don't know of any aftermarket options out there, but I would imagine as this rifle continues to gain popularity, you're going to see some of those come out. Me personally, I'd probably get something that's a little bit more filling in the hand, but again, not bad at all. Moving on to the trigger, we're going to first ensure our rifle is clear, and you can see there it is. And let that go forward and test our trigger out. This trigger here up front is very, very good. Again, for a military issue rifle, it's fantastic. So we have a little bit of slop right here up front, but when you hit a wall, you get some resistance and a nice clean break. So we'll slow that down a little bit. You get your wall, break. It's not clean and crisp like say like a Geissele or something like that, but again, we're talking about a military trigger here. Nice strong reset. You know your trigger resets, there's no doubt about it. That little bit of creep, and then it breaks. Now the break on this one, according to my trigger gauge, is right at 4.5 pounds. So 4.5 pounds, it definitely aided in the accuracy that you guys saw earlier. So it makes it much easier to shoot than some, like for instance, the Beretta ARX or the Tavor or something like that have those really heavy 10+ pound military triggers. On the right side of the rifle, we have our shell deflector here. It's only on the right side, so there's no shell deflector on the left side. We do also have our magazine release, and one thing to point out, the mag well there has a nice bevel to it all the way around, aiding in good reloads. So put our mag in, you can see drops free. Every mag we've seen so far with it has dropped free. Obviously we're at an angle, so that one's not quite going to drop free here on the table, but it does come with 2 DNH mags, which in my opinion are excellent mags. They're one of the USGI style mags that I do recommend. We've used it with everything though, Gen 2 and 3P mags, Lancer mags. We use Troy mags, USGI mags. I'm trying to think of others, Surefire mags. They've all worked flawlessly in the rifle, so no issues there at all. So that's the right side. Now we're going to swap it around here. Take a look at the left side. You'll notice we also have our magazine release here, so ambi mag release, and this is actually the bolt lock, so or the bolt hold open button. So in order to do that, we have our charging handle there. You pull it to the rear, and you are able to lock it. Now it is only a bolt lock open. You cannot release the bolt by hitting it. So you can hit that all day long and nothing will happen. In order to chamber around or to get the rifle back into battery, you have to pull it and release. In just a little bit, we'll break the rifle down, but you can see the lower here, which is this portion, is polymer, and the upper receiver is a forged aluminum material. Again, very, very, very nice finishing on both sides. It's really just flawless. No tool marks anywhere on this rifle. You just simply cannot complain about that at all. Now we're going to slide it back a little bit. Take a look at some other things. So 2 other aftermarket parts that we have on this rifle, and those are the final 2, are going to be the charging handle here and the M-LOK rail sections here from KNS Precision. So when these come, it comes with a 1913 style rail on the bottom that you may have noticed throughout the video when we're out there shooting, and sort of a flat rail here with a little cutout section. So these ones are more lightweight, and obviously they allow the mounting of different accessories like M-LOK. I'm a fan of them. The KNS Precision did a really good job here getting these out. I believe they're making a key out as well. And you may ask, why do I have this charging handle on there, the down swept charging handle? Well, there's a very good reason, and it's one I found out with a little bit of blood. So basically when you mount an optic up here, this charging handle is relatively high up. So if you have any sort of like QD levers or anything like that sticking out on the side and you go to run that charging handle hard, which I did, you will end up, or may end up, I should say, cutting your hands. So I ended up a pretty big cut right there on my knuckle from running it. So I actually posted in a forum about how that was one of the features of the rifle that I actually didn't like. And someone said, hey, K&S Precision makes something that'll solve that. So we ordered one of those and it's been great. If you do have that problem, I highly recommend it. If you don't have the problem and you're running something like an ACOG back here on the rear of the rifle, you'll never notice it. But I assure you, if you're running the rifle relatively hard and you have something up front that sticks out, you very well may notice it. And probably easier just to learn from me and my blood. Just like the rear sight, the front sight has very good machining on there. You can see nice and strong ears on there to protect that front sight, and it does use any sort of AR standard adjustment tools to make your elevation adjustments. The rear sight is adjustable for windage, operates the same way as the rear, so if you want to set it down, you're just going to push that pin through, and again, very, very tight. In a good way, it locks down, and to put it back up, push it through, locks into place with authority. So that thing is solid, not going anywhere. On the front of the rifle, we have a lot of really cool things going on. First off, we have our piston system. The piston system is adjustable. So as you see it right here is the standard position, which is what I use throughout all of the video, whether or not it was suppressed, shooting with the brakes, shooting with a flash hider, whatever the case may be. I used the standard setting and had zero issues whatsoever. So if you want to adjust it, all you have to do is just push this little detent in, which I'll show you how to do here in just a second, and turn it, and you can go over to your hard use settings. So if your rifle's really fouled up, dirt, mud, whatever, and you need that extra gas to get it running, that's how they recommend you do it. Now, CZ recommends that you not leave it there because that is going to cause extra wear and tear in your rifle, which kind of makes sense as you're throwing more gas in there and speeding up the action. So if you do need to use it, that's how you do it. However, under normal conditions, recommend not doing it. Now, the barrel here is a 16.2 inch cold hammer forged chrome lined 1-in-7 twist CMV barrel. So very, very, very good stuff here. CZ barrels are known for being just simply excellent. You guys saw the action out there. It was good stuff. Particularly for a military style rifle. And I like the fact that it's a pencil barrel, because one thing about this rifle is it's not lightweight. When I got it in, as it came with no accessories added on there, it weighed in at 8.3 pounds on my scale. So a relatively heavy weapon, but that pencil barrel does help it balance a little bit. It's still a little bit front heavy due to the piston action that we have right here. But the pencil barrel, I'm a fan of it. In my opinion, it was the right choice going with that barrel to balance the rifle out overall. Now up front, you can see we have a very, very effective muzzle brake here. Combine that with the 5.56 round and just the smoothness of the action on this rifle, and it really makes it almost not have any sort of muzzle rise at all. You can see the ports there on the side. And we also have a couple that vent gas to the top. Now, that's very good for muzzle rise and staying on target. However, it's loud and it does have a good bit of blast. So it's just something to consider there. You know, it's user preference and depending on what you want out of your rifle. Me personally, if I was going to use this for say like a home defense type scenario, I would definitely throw a flash hider on there. And the beauty of it is it has standard 1/2x28 threads. So most of your commonly available AR muzzle devices will be able to swap on there very easily. Now we'll disassemble the rifle to show you how that's done and show you some of the internal parts. There's several ways to do it. We'll just take the pins out first and kind of go from there. Again, we have those K&S Precision push pins in there, but if not, just push your standard ones out and do the same up front. And grab that one out of the back there. There you go. Set those off to the side. At this point, what we're going to do here is we're going to push our stock down, and to do that you just push this button in here on the rear and just kind of push down, your stock comes off. So very, very simple. We're going to take our recoil spring out. Now one thing you have to do once you take your lower out is this little notch right here. We're going to line our charging handle up there. As soon as it's lined up, you can just kind of pull up and it'll come out just like that. So this is obviously the K&S Precision one we talked about, but the factory one will come out just the same. At this point, we can remove our bolt and carrier. To remove the piston, you sort of need 3 hands, but we'll see what we can do here in the video. Incidentally, we will have a full cleaning and lubrication video of this rifle coming up here in maybe a week or 2. I can't make any promises on dates, but rest assured it will be done. What you're going to do here is we're going to just push this little detent in here, and we're going to turn the piston just like that. And like I mentioned earlier, that setting right there is the hard use setting. That's going to give it a bunch of gas to run in adverse conditions. We're just going to push a little bit beyond that and keep going until it is kind of flat there. There's a flat piece on the bottom that lines up, and at that point we're just going to kind of pull our piston out. Now this rifle's still a little bit tight. Kind of felt it pop there, but just keep pulling and it will come right out. And there you go. There's our regulator and our piston right there. Now, a couple things to point out, just looking at the piston and obviously this regulator portion here, is that the machining on there is just phenomenal. I probably said that, and I'm going to keep saying it throughout the video because it's just impressive. Until you kind of handle it and feel that action in your hands, it's hard to explain, but I promise you, it's as good as it gets out there. It's sort of like handling a Wilson Combat 1911, and I realize that's high praise. I stand behind that. It really is. It's that nice. So it's just perfectly fit, and the machining is just awesome all the way around. So at this point right now, this is as far as we want to field strip it. You can actually remove your bolt. We'll show you how to do that in the cleaning and lubrication video. But for basic field maintenance, it's not recommended that you do so. So this is as far as you want to break it down for a normal cleaning. I didn't want to take too much time and just go through the whole reassembly process because, again, we'll have another video coming out and it's essentially just the opposite of what we just did. But I want to point out that the charging handle can be put in on either side. So again, you just line it up with this notch. We'll put our charging handle in, and then I'll just send it home and reassemble as normal. So AK guys, if that's how you like to run your rifles, by all means, feel free. We covered most of the details of the rifle, at least as far as I know anyway, but one thing I didn't mention, I think, is that the charging handle is reciprocating. So if you're one of those guys that likes to shoot like this or something, or like this with your hand in the mag well, you'll probably only do that once because it's sort of a self-correcting exercise with this rifle. Now, other things that are important. First off, it's very expensive, so there's no getting around that, at least as of the time of this video. The black versions of the Carbine, I believe, had an MSRP of $19.99, and the FD ones, which this one is, has an MSRP of $21.99. Generally speaking, again, at the time of this video, you're finding those about $300 to $400 cheaper on the street, but without question, it is an extremely expensive rifle. So with that kind of money, folks are asking, well, why not just get a SCAR? So let's talk about that. It's very similar to a SCAR. It looks very similar to a SCAR. The operating system is very similar to a SCAR. It's not a SCAR. There are certainly some differences, but without question, the designers of this rifle took a look at the SCAR and were like, yeah, that's a pretty good design. We're going to use a lot of that. So the answer is why not get a SCAR is, I don't know. It's number one, it's cheaper. It's about $500 cheaper. Even with a high retail price, the SCAR 16 is going to be more. So you're saving about 20% in cost. And I mean, I've shot both rifles. At this point, one thing that is very, very clear is that the build quality, if you will, of the rifles, this one is better than a SCAR. Number one, the colors actually match, which a lot of people like, but just running the action, I'm not sure if you can hear that, but it's just super smooth. I tried not to lock the bolt back, but we did. So drop the mag, let it go home. But it is just super, super smooth. Everything is fit perfectly. You saw we had a hard time getting that little regulator out, and that's just because it's fit so freaking well. So everything on the rifle is like that. It's awesome. So in terms of that, it's really good. If you guys want a SCAR, though, get a SCAR. They're good rifles. I recommend them. But this one certainly has nothing to apologize for in terms of being similar to it, at least not in my opinion. It holds up with it in that regard. It's been 100% reliable with any ammo, any magazine combination we put through it. Really, I've become a big fan of this rifle. So this rifle was sent out as a T&E gun from CZ. They're getting a check. They're not getting the rifle back. I really, really like it. This one's going to be on the channel for a long time. It's won me over without question. The con of it, the big con, I think I already mentioned, is that it is a little bit front heavy. I don't like that, but it's not too bad, again, due to that pencil barrel. What I really like is the shooting characteristics of it. It just shoots so freaking smooth, man. The recoil impulse is really, it's so minimal. And not that ARs are bad, because they're certainly not, but sometimes it's nice to have something that's not an AR. And if you're looking for that, this is a rifle I I'd take a good look at. Very, very high quality if you have the budget for it, of course. So that's about it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention it also comes with a really cool cleaning kit. I'm not sure that's not too important to everyone, but it comes like a bore snake, a really nicely machined USGI style cleaning kit with some specific tools for this rifle. I'm not going to use them in my cleaning video, but it is nice to mention that it does come with it, which is sort of an added bonus. If you just have one rifle or something like that, you don't need to go out and buy a new cleaning kit. So that's a bonus as well. I think that's about it though. If you guys have any questions, you can always post below down in the comments section. You can also post over at my Facebook page as always. Facebook's obviously a better communications medium than YouTube is. That's just the way it is. YouTube's designed to share videos. Facebook's designed to communicate. So no surprise there. Anyway, I digress. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you in the next video.